What's going on, beautiful world? Welcome back to Invictus. It is time for part 2 of the Ryan Yusuf chat. I apologize, I've been a bit slack with the video edits, life and work and all the commitments get in front of me, and I try and edit when I can and have the time to do it, and finally got around to doing part 2. I know people have been waiting, so I do apologize, but here it is, part 2 of what was an incredible chat. We actually ended after the recording of this. When we ended the recording of this chat, we actually sat and spoke for another like 30 to 40 minutes. It was incredible. Just a genuine character is Yusuf, an amazing guy. And I absolutely just love talking Middlesbrough with him. And as I do anyone, you know, it's a lonely place down here in Australia. So we spoke about Tuba. We spoke about the transfers not getting promoted. And we spoke about trying to get one of those illustrious photos with Yusuf as well. Prior to the game, and it was just incredible to finally sit down and just have a chat, so I really appreciated it. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's just a genuine Middlesbrough chat. We are away to Bradford at the time of recording, just come off our first win of the season as well against Southampton. Looking back, hopefully in a few months time, this video we'll talk about more wins. Sit back, relax, and enjoy Ryan Yusuf chatting everything Boro. All right, so we've spoken about obviously both finding the Middlesbrough, how we came across it, both becoming fans, and I guess fans that sort of, you know, you yourself being recognised outside of the stadium and having photos taken and stuff like that. We've spoken about the current season, the Aussie lads. Let's talk a little bit about last season and the amazingness and the run that it was, and obviously in Tuba. Do you think it was one of the best seasons you've ever seen in a Middlesbrough team?
For sure. Yeah. Certainly one of the most enjoyable in terms of like the goals and the football that we're playing was just unbelievable kind of thing. You know, obviously we've had better seasons in the Premier League and stuff because of where we were, but in terms of the amount of goals that we scored, we're not used to seeing Boro scoring plenty of goals. But there's many games where we scored a lot of goals. You know, Tuba getting 29 goals I think altogether. So that was obviously unbelievable. And Archer, Force, McGree, they're all chipping in with goals as well. So the whole team, it was really, really kind of positive, and it looked really kind of exciting. And how did it look for you obviously you went in the stadium with the atmosphere, but how was it like watching it on the screen? Well,
I've broken a few things around this area. Too much to my wife's demise, but I've broken these curtain rod here for a couple of times, especially when McGree scored a couple of bangers. It was something that I felt so far away from, yet so connected to in a way, because obviously, you know, it was incredible scenes, and obviously having a goal scorer that scored 29 goals. I think for me, one of the most memorable ones going back was the Karanka era. Obviously, we got promoted under Karanka. That was the last sort of time I remember being so thinking, wow, this is an amazing team. And we were just so defensive back then, though. We weren't scoring goals, but we just weren't letting them in. I remember Dimmy and you know, the defense back then with Ben Gibson and stuff like that was just incredibly stalwart. And we sort of, I guess, this last season, flipped that, haven't we? Where we sort of, as you were saying earlier, we sort of still ship goals, but my goodness, we have the team to sort of, you know, come back and get the goals to get around, you know, whatever deficit we had. Do you think the Tuba sale was something, obviously, I was upset about, but I could kind of understand? How was your sort of reaction to Tuba leaving Middlesbrough and off to obviously going to Ajax?
Obviously, it was disappointing because, you know, I can't remember the last time a player was that good for Middlesbrough. You know, he wasn't just good for us; he was the best in the league, and it was voted, you know, PFA Player of the Year and the Fans Player of the Year as well. Players Player of the Year as well as the PFA Player of the Year. So, like. Everybody, I
was trying to keep. Well, he got so many awards; it's hard to keep up.
He did exactly, and he got so much Player of the Month awards, and like it was just superb. And like even if he scored 10 goals last season, I would still say he was Player of the Season because he offered more than just goals. Because sometimes people say, "Oh, all he does is score goals," but his performances were just fantastic. Like he could have scored 10 goals, and I'd still think he's Player of the Season for Middlesbrough because he was that good. Obviously, scoring 29 made it incredible. Do you know what I mean? 28 league goals and 1 against Brighton. Like really, really good. So for me, you can understand why he made that decision because it's Champions League football and it's a step up for him. Obviously, part of the greed of being a Borough fan. You think, oh, if only he
Mm,
stayed. And,
yeah.
you know, but that's why it was so heartbreaking to not get promoted. Because if
Yeah.
we got promoted, I think Chuba would have stayed.
Yeah.
I think we would have probably got in Archer and Giles and
Yeah.
well, not all of them, but maybe
Maybe.
one or
Yeah.
possibly two of them,
Yeah.
and other players of that kind of level.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we didn't get promoted, and with financial fair play and stuff like that, we have to go
Yeah.
a different way, and we're going for younger players. And I think the club's trying to maybe copy the model of the Brentfords and the
Yeah.
Brightons, where they're buying young players,
Yeah.
establishing them as first team players, and then selling them on in 2 or 3 years' time. And that's going to take time. That's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's a football club with results, yes, but it's also a business,
Yeah.
and you have to keep the business going.
How do you think Chuba will go in Champions League football? And obviously seeing him live last season again, I watched him, through rose tinted goggles, obviously, and loved what he was about, and obviously watching and living through his interviews and stuff like that. Do you think he's got what it takes now to step up and to perform in the Champions League and for Ajax?
I mean, nobody knows until we see. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, you'd hope so, and you think with his performances he can, because he's definitely got the ability. But again, a lot of the time it's down to the manager. If your manager plays to your strengths, then of course he can do it. But if the manager doesn't, the manager puts him on the bench and doesn't really give him an opportunity, or the manager plays him in a different role. Carrick got the best out of him. Even Wilder, to be fair, I know he wasn't in the team with Wilder at the start, but when he was playing under Wilder, he was still playing well, scoring goals at the start of the season. And that suited him more than obviously Neil Warnock, where they kind of need a target man. He's not a target man. If you want a target man, he's not your man.
Yeah.
He's a lot more than a target man. So if you play to his strengths, then I think he can be a real asset. So obviously I'll be having a little look at the Ajax results, and I'm hoping that he's going to score for us, because for them.
Yeah.
I still say I still think we own him.
Still us. Ajax.
When I'm talking, I know his goals belong to us. Yeah, his goals.
Our Acom at Ajax.
Exactly. So yeah, hopefully he does well, and hopefully he goes and proves people what he can do at the highest level.
Oh, I love to see it. I'd be lying if I didn't wish that he goes on and smashes it for Ajax. I think for me, getting to see, Chuba flourish finally. Obviously, he's had such a stop-start career, and he obviously was an Arsenal youth, and then he's been on so many, back and forth with different teams and stuff like that. I think it was me for definitely being quite upset seeing him not being able to stay, but I understand the decision, and now I just hope that he can go on and smash it in the Champions League, because it'd be amazing to see a Middlesbrough player. That's right. Yusuf and I have owned you, Chuba. Okay, we've announced it. Right? You're still ours. It's just you're
absolutely
you're on loan, Ajax, and I hope that he goes off and does has an amazing season. In terms for the Borough now, obviously with such a big turnover, seeing 12 players come in, and obviously the expectations now, like you said, the Brentford model, the Brighton model of having such a young team. What do you think is a reasonable sort of goal for Middlesbrough this season in terms of where we're at the end of the season, if you were to turn around and look back at the season, what do you think you'd be happy with or disappointed with, depending on where we're at in terms of, we see the Carabao Cup run, we see obviously at the moment we're the last in the table, and maybe an FA Cup. What would you see is a success? And I guess what would you sort of seem that you think we could have done a bit better in?
Well, obviously success, we have to at least get in the playoffs. For a club of our size, if we're not in the playoffs, then it can't be seen as anything but a failure, because no matter what team you've got, even if we've got a poor kind of side, but I guess success is always relative. You see many teams, like for example Everton in the Premier League, they were nearly got relegated for the last 2 seasons, but the fact that they stayed up, the feeling of kind of relief, they kind of look back and they think, oh, it could have been a lot worse. They could have obviously got relegated. So obviously they want to aim for much higher than just staying up. But the feeling of staying up is good for their kind of football club. So for us, obviously we want we have to aim for obviously top six minimum,
Yeah.
or to at least kind of compete. I think, and I think we're capable of achieving that, especially if in January we had a couple of players like we did last January in Archer and Ramsey. So I think as long as we can get in a good run of form, get into January in and around the playoffs, maybe hopefully add one or two to help us get to the next level. We have to. For me, we've got to aim for playoffs.
Yeah. I guess for me, obviously, I think it's exactly the same. I think we're a club, and everyone you see and you talk to, and you look at Rockcliffe pictures and stuff like that, and the Riverside Stadium. It's for me, it's a Premier League club. The facilities, the stuff around it, the fan base in terms of the numbers we get to. We saw away at Bolton 2,800 on a Tuesday night for a Carabao Cup tie. The numbers there just scream to me. The league above, but obviously it's down to performances and stuff like that. So it'll be incredible to look back, I think, and maybe we should have a chat at the end of the season and see what we said now and to what it is at the end of the thing. I guess in terms of, let's step away from the football. In terms of your real life, what is it that keeps you busy on a Monday to Friday, and obviously leading up to a Middlesbrough game on the weekend?
Honestly, it's the motivation of Middlesbrough gets me through the week.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I go into work Monday morning, and all I'm thinking about is the Middlesbrough match on the Saturday kind of things.
Yeah.
And I just want that Monday to go. And then once that Monday's gone, yes, 4 more days to go. 2 days finished. And it's like, and then my favorite day of the week is Friday when I finish work, go home, and then I can't sleep on Friday night because I'm really, really excited, really, really buzzing, and then wake up super early on a Saturday. And it's a great kind of day out. Even if we lose, it's always a good day out because it's nice to meet lots of fans and the whole socializing side of it. But yeah, so for me, what keeps me going is the actual Middlesbrough match. Is what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. I've been sort of fortunate, I think, because it was for me, and I wanted to touch on that social aspect for me, because for me, I've been following Middlesbrough at 2 a.m. my time by myself. I've been sitting here in the dark. I still was breaking things. I was still screaming and waking the whole neighborhood up. But obviously, putting a camera in front of me has allowed me to sort of find like-minded people and fellow fans sort of thing to sort of share that experience with. And it's been for me a dream come true to not be alone at 2 a.m. on a cold morning on a Saturday, Sunday morning, to be able to watch the team that I love so much. So I can definitely, connect with that social aspect. I guess, for me, Yusuf, it was an amazing opportunity to be able to just sit down and chat Middlesbrough. I love sitting and talking Middlesbrough, and obviously with yourself and a similar sort of connection, I guess, in terms of the club bringing in as fans and making, allowing us to talk to me, Riley McGree, you, to the other players. I think it's an amazing connection to have, and obviously for me, thanking the club. But it's now what it's allowed me and what it's given me is the ability to meet people like yourself and meet people like I've just started doing this radio show now, and it's been incredible sort of stuff. So I just wanted to firstly, I guess, thank you so much for coming on and having a chat with me and getting to meet you. And secondly, I can't wait to get over there and hopefully, be able to shake your hand and get one of those famous Yusuf photos with you as well.
Listen, when you get to the Riverside, people won't be wanting photos with me; they'll be wanting you. So
no, I don't. That blows my mind that you would even think that.
Trust me. No, trust me. People talk about you all the time, all the time. They always say, "Oh, have you seen that Aussie guy? Have you seen that Aussie guy?" It was so funny and stuff like that. So you'll be, So you might need to ask the club to give you a bodyguard because you're going to be absolutely.
I don't believe it. I just want to sit next to you and watch the game and enjoy being there. But I hope I can get there early next year. That's my plan at the moment. I've actually got a baby on the way. I got a second baby due in November. So I'll be a dad of 2 girls, which is very scary. But so I'm hoping early next year that I'll be able to get over there, and I'd love to finally meet some of these fans that I see so much on the other lens. But again, thank you so much for sitting down with me, and thank you so much for having the chat and always talking Middlesbrough. And we will definitely do it again soon.
Absolutely. Cheers, pal.
Well, there you have it, guys. Part 2 of the Yusuf and Rai chat. I hope you really enjoyed it. It was honestly one of the most memorable times of mine to be able to just sit down and chat Boro with Yusuf. It was really incredible. Can't wait to meet him. I'm hoping to get over to Middlesbrough very, very soon, hopefully into the new year. We're doing the breakfast radio now. I'm trying to bring you all the content I can, doing all the watch-alongs and stuff like that. So it's everything Middlesbrough for me, and I can't stop. It's just an addiction now because I love this club and I love the people and I love the town so very, very much. If you like the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We are like 7 people away from 4,000 subscribers here on Richter, so it really does help. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a fantastic, safe day. I love you, Boro fans, and as always, up the Boro!